Today is Friday, April 21st, 2017. This is the drama life, and this is my family. This is my dad and my mom, and I have a younger sister, but I'll mention her a little bit later. So we are a straight-up Korean family. We are straight-up Korean blood. My family is from Korea, and that's where my parents met. They met in Seoul, Korea. And they met in high school. They met on a school bus actually on their way to school. And in the school bus, they began to talk to each other and they began to date each other actually very, very quickly. And they began to fall in love. So they fell in love, but eventually my dad left for the United States to get a better education. But they didn't break up, so they were just a long-distance relationship for literally 4 to 5 years. So he was in the US and she was in Korea. I'm actually not sure why they broke up, if they were going to be long distance for like 5 years, but they didn't, and I'm actually very glad for that. So he got his associate's degree in the US and my mom was in Korea, and they really had no contact with each other, which was very difficult for them. But eventually my mom went to the US and they got married in the United States. I'm really not too sure about the details of their marriage. I really don't know where they got married, but they got married. And when they did get married, my dad told me that they had about $600 in their bank account. And obviously being an immigrant from Korea, he just had no money. And I'm really not sure how he married somebody and had a kid with $600. So I'm not really too sure where I was born. It might have been Koreatown or some part of downtown LA. I don't think it really matters. But my parents did eventually have me on July 3rd, 1998. And I am their firstborn daughter. And I was actually a very chubby and ugly child, and I do have proof with pictures they took of me before. And then later, 4 years later actually, they had my younger sister, and her name is Sharon. And to this day, I actually do very love my sister, but at the time, with any younger sibling, I was very jealous of her because my parents gave her all the attention. They always favored her. She was actually very pretty as a baby as well. So I just ended up pinching her like here and there just because I was mad at her. So that's that. So this is a drawing of my sister and I growing up over the years, and we did end up getting really close, and I'm really glad that I have her today. So I think my life was very dictated by how financially stable my dad was. So he started off at $600 and he made a peak at around 2007. There was a recession. He had no job. During his peak, he took us to places like San Diego. He took us to Legoland. He took us to Palm Springs. Like, he was at his peak. He was almost a millionaire basically, and that's how we survived throughout the years with his savings. So we finally moved from LA to the suburbs, and I went to an elementary school called Harada Elementary. And our mascot is a dragon, so that's why I'm drawing a dragon. And in my class, I was actually the shortest one in my class. The way I'm drawing it here, it's a literal representation of how short I was. And so that resulted in my nickname of being the shrimp of the class. And it was okay, I didn't really mind it much. During our promotion day, every girl wore heels, and I just did not wear heels, I guess. And that just made me shorter than everyone else, and it was an embarrassing experience for me. Now that I look back at it, it's actually kind of funny. But I was known as a shrimp during elementary school. Then I transitioned to middle school. I just was a normal Asian. I took all the honors classes. I met my best friend there. Her name's Serena. She's still my best friend to this day. I met her in science class. So middle school was just an entire blur for me. I don't really remember that part of my life. But I do remember high school, and I remember my first day was one of the scariest experiences of my life. But I eventually fit in. I joined things like American Red Cross. I joined class council. I joined ASB. I made posters every day. And then came along summer when I had to take the horrendous SAT classes every single day. And I just hated going there. I was just never good at the SAT. I got 1990 the first time. I got 10 points lower the second time. So I decided to stick with the ACT, but I found that out too late, so I had to wake up at 6 a.m. every single morning during senior year just to study for the ACT. And it was a pain, but eventually it did work out because I did a lot better on the ACT than the SAT. And in my junior year, I had my first boyfriend. I was not sure what I was doing. He told me he liked me. I was like, okay, I like you too. And it ended up working well. We went out for about 2.5 years. But times changed and we eventually broke up, which we broke up on good terms, so it was alright. It was just because I was going to college. I was deciding between UCLA, UC Berkeley, and just some East Coast schools. And obviously I picked UCLA. And for that, I'm just very, very grateful. I absolutely love UCLA, and if I chose somewhere like Berkeley, I just would have regretted my entire decision. But even UCLA was hard, especially in winter quarter when I had Lavelle and all I did was fall asleep in class. But now it's spring quarter and I've developed so many genuine relationships with people I can honestly call true friends. And academics aside, these people are what make my life at UCLA so happy. And I'm thankful. And this is my life and the end.